Alright, hello everyone, welcome to this video. So today this is going to be about Scottish Labour. Everything Scottish Labour. Covering their election disaster class, covering their leadership election disaster class, and just what I think of Scottish Labour, alright? And I'll put it out there first, I'm not a member of a political party. I did vote SNP in the last election, so I'll put that out there, but let's continue, let's get on with it. So, Scottish Labour suffered their worst result ever in Scottish Parliament history, where they collapsed to 17 seats. This was under leader Anas Sarwar, and there were many reasons for this. One of the reasons that I can think of off the top of my head, and going into this, people thought it could have been a positive, but I disagreed. I always thought it was negative, and here's what I'm talking about. Keir Starmer at the time was Prime Minister. He was very unpopular. Anas Sarwar to distance himself from Keir Starmer. And remember, for these parties, it's really hard to distance yourself from your party when you're a branch office party. No disrespect, but that's what they are. They are a branch office party. So what did they do? Well, Anas Sarwar said that Keir Starmer must go. And while many commentators at the time said this could be a smart move, free Anas Sarwar, I always disagreed, and I always turned out to be right. Because it makes them look so fractured. Like, think about the look of it here. Like, the Prime Minister's doing his thing, while the Scottish leader's having to go, I don't agree with that, that's terrible. It was really bad luck. And it made them look indecisive, not unified. Especially, it just wasn't a good look. And also, Anas Sarwar's campaign was really annoying. Like, Jesus Christ, there were so many YouTube ads. I couldn't get, they somehow bypassed my ad blockers to get onto YouTube. I have no idea how they did that, but whatever. And I think that also hurt them. Like, the Democrats, Reform, SNP, the Greens, the Tories didn't do these adverts. To my knowledge, I only saw Scottish Labour adverts, and I think they might have just annoyed people, especially because they talked about SNP have failed Scotland, SNP are shite, and that's all well and good to say that, sure, you can have that opinion, but you guys are in the main power. You guys are, well, you have a flag right there, England. You guys are in England. You are governing the UK from England, because that's what the UK government is, just the England government. Let's be so for real about that. This is for the Scottish government right there, and the UK government's not been doing good. Why should we trust you with Scotland? And that's what it ended up as. They collapsed to 17 seats. SNP won again. Yeah, no very good luck for them. Now, on to another thing about them. And also, another bad thing about them. After the Scottish Parliament results, Anas Sarwar is gone. He's left. Not the Labour Party, but left Scottish Labour to be a House of Lord. So, Lord Anas Sarwar is now a thing. And that's really bad, because if you remember, in 2022, Anas Sarwar quite famously said the House of Lords are undemocratic. I believe he might have said unfair to Scotland as well, but I can't mind. But he said it was terrible and it must be dissolved. Well, 4 years later, look where we are. So, and that is a terrible look for Scottish Labour, and Labour in general, to be fair. Especially under new Prime Minister Andy Burnham. This isn't a way to start your way into getting back into the good books of the Scottish public when your guy becomes the Lord, something he promised never to do. Now, there's also the other thing, there's been a leadership election to replace Lord Anas Sarwar, and the candidates were Monica Lennon, Michael Marr, and Joe Fagan. Now, Monica Lennon is not on the ballot. She's been blocked, did not get the parliamentary backing. She didn't get the establishment backing. Joe Fagan and the other guy is on the backing. And this is really significant for multiple reasons. Now, first, we have to talk about the history of Labour, alright? To make this make sense. Labour were founded, I believe in, when was it? I think it was before women got the vote. So before 1914. But somewhere around there. And I know they had an alliance with the suffragists, but whatever. They were founded there by trade unions, so working people could have a voice in Parliament. And they were an anti-corporate party. They were very left-wing. See the modern-day Greens or Scottish Greens? That was Labour. I'm not joking. They set up the NHS, alright? If you don't believe me, Labour set up the NHS, alright? That's how left-wing they were. And obviously everyone loves the NHS now. So, And then they became corporate and more corporate and more corporate over time. And the trade unions have stuck with them, even though Scottish Labour and Labour in general are taking so much corporate money. They take in more corporate money than trade union money, alright? And this is why it's significant, because Monica Lennon was the trade unions candidate, and a woman, but she was, more importantly, the trade unions candidate. Let me read you who endorsed her. Unite, the UK's largest trade union. Unison, the largest public sector trade union. CWU, Communications Worker Union. ASLEF, Associated Society of Locomotive Engineers and Firemen. NUM, National Union of Mine Workers. Party factions and campaign groups. Mainstream, the soft left group aligned with Andy Burnham, the new Prime Minister. The new Prime Minister, mind you, is endorsed that group, and this group has endorsed Monica Lennon. Campaign for Socialism, the hard left faction of the Labour Party endorsed her. Disability Labour endorsed her. Socialist Health Association Scotland endorsed her. SERA, Scottish Environment and Resource Associations, Labour's Green Campaign endorsed her. Scottish Young Labour endorsed her. And obviously the Scottish Cooperative Party endorsed her. And so that's a lot of really high profile endorsements. So she should be on the ballot, but she's not. She's not on the ballot. And that is really, really bad. Especially when you consider, like, in Scotland right now, there's only one female leader of a party, and she's not even full leader, she is co-leader, so that is not a good look for Scotland right now, guys. Come on, guys, need to get more women in there. I don't really care, obviously, I'm a man, but there is optics about it. I know a lot of people care about that stuff, and it's fair enough to care about that stuff. But the fact she was blocked, and the two guys who are on the ballot, they are literally the same person. Let me read you... Sorry, let me get up here. Broad agreement. Reports from Hustings confirmed the candidates agreed on broad areas of policy. These are, they support oil and gas drilling. This is important because here's what I'm thinking here. I know Andy Burnham's endorsed the group endorsed her, but Andy Burnham did no endorse her. But he supports more drilling in the North Sea. She doesn't support more drilling in the North Sea. So it would have been another Anna Sarwar, Keir Starmer situation. And I have a little feeling that Prime Minister Andy Burnham doesn't really want that happening again. But this time, outflanking him from his left. And obviously, Labour lost a lot of votes. Interestingly, there's a misconception. Labour have no lost a lot of votes to Reform UK. They've lost votes to the Green Party and Liberal Democrat. They've lost some to Reform, but really not that many. It is a big misconception, right? Like there. Again, both candidates Joe Fagan and Michael Mara have promised radical overhauls to and rediscover the party's soul. But when pressed in debates, they don't oppose corporate donations. Again, Monica Lennon does oppose corporate donations. So that again is very significant. So let's cover the two men. Because I'm a good faith argument, and even though they agree with a lot, let's see what they differ with first before we begin bashing them. Alright, so Fagan has explicitly pledged to lift the ban on local council coalitions with anyone except Reform UK. Child poverty. Michael Mara has been slashing child poverty as signature pledge, proposing a specific commission and test for budget support. However, that's kind of every single party, is it no? Like the SNP are doing that. The SNP budgets, both are willing to work with SNP. Though, like, every single major issue, North Sea, oil, public ownership, they are so similar to the mainline UK Labour, it's almost indistinguishable. Alright, so I imagine this is one of the reasons why Monica Lennon was blocked. Because she is very different from Andy Burnham. Like, if she was the leader, she'd probably be critical of a lot of stuff he does because they differ a lot. She's a more socialist style candidate. She's like a kind of like SNP and Greens, but without the independence one, into public ownership. Andy Burnham's into public control. However, that is a bit different in Scotland. Because see, in Scotland we do have public assets, and they are working really good. Really good, actually. Scottish Water is a public owned asset. And it's one of the best waters in the world, and I'm very proud of that, to be fair. Same with ScotRail, that's publicly owned, and it's got, I think, around the 90% approval rating. I think it might even be like 92%. However, Scotland does have a history of public ownership. However, Burnham's is public control. That's a bit different. Public control is like more through deals and regulations. It's very strange. It's very strange, but as I said, they can't contradict Burnham. So they've been very vague into like what if they support public ownership versus public control, because they can't say we don't support public ownership, because that's a very popular position in Scotland. I don't know about England, but in Scotland, public ownership is popular. So I don't think they can come out and say we don't support public ownership, but then they can't really depose Burnham like that either. So it's very strange. So those are the two candidates. I mean, good, I guess. I don't really see them doing much. They're literally the same as Anna Sarwar. I said this before and I'll say it again. Scotland is off the limits for Labour unless Andy Burnham does some really good things. Scottish Labour, like, look at these guys. They're not going to win anyone from inside Scotland. Either Andy Burnham for the UK, specifically England, is going to do policies there which are really good and affect Scotland well via the reserved powers. And that is the only way they win in Scotland. These two guys will not get support in Scotland. Mark my words, write that down in the calendar. Alright, last bit I want to talk about in this video is I'd say just the downfall of Labour in general. Ever since they started accepting corporate money, it's been downhill ever since, and I just don't understand why the trade unions stick with them. Like I said, the history of Scottish Labour, they were founded a while ago. This was before women got the votes. They actually made a deal with the suffragettes to back women voting, but back then they were funded by trade unions for workers. They were trade unionist party, trade unions stick by them to this day. However, they aren't the same party anymore. They take so much corporate money. Let me just talk about specifically the Scottish side of Labour and who they've taken money from. So let me read it. Billionaire bus tycoons, owner of McGill's bus empire. They've donated 300,000 to 450,000. The Guptas, a PG paper company, who were previously Tory donors. That's all you need to know. You got more people who want oil and gas drilling. Labour Together, the centrist think tank. Yeah, not the best people, and they've taken so much money. For the first time in history, I can't mind if this is for Labour or Scottish Labour, but it's probably similar for both. Labour have taken more money from corporations than trade unions. I mean, that is just disgraceful. How do you take more money from corporations than trade unions and call yourself a party for the working class? And again, the trade union candidate and the cooperative party candidate, she's not even allowed on the ballot. I don't know what the trade unions are doing, man. They can't really leave Labour because there's no other option. I mean, in Scotland there are other options actually. You got the Scottish Green Party and of course the Scottish National Party. However, they can't go to them because what do those two parties have in common? Independence. While they don't take any corporate money, which is why I'm surprised they haven't joined them, but they can't be seen working with independence parties. Remember, these are UK unions. SNP actually have a bunch of unions on the side, but they're just specifically Scottish unions. They're not UK unions. That's why your Unites or your Unisons couldn't work with them. And again, are there any other UK parties? I mean, the Green Party don't take any corporate money, but are they really going to switch to the Green Party? I reckon they should, but I don't know. And remember, Labour used to be really left-wing. Like, you got to remember, I know for younger people it's hard to understand this because all we know is corporate Labour. But these are the guys who made the NHS, right? They made the NHS, the thing we have today, the thing everyone uses today. Very radical, very brave. And that Labour's just gone now. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching.